All right, Ian. I just thought this was an interesting story um, about Nintendo president speaking out against video game censorship.
So we kind of actually touched on this a little bit when, in a topic from a few months back, I talked about seeing some interesting stuff on the eShop that I never would have expected to see.
Oh yeah, like some borderline booby stuff.
Yeah,
right?
like Jesus, I own it physically on a couple of systems.
Oh, you own it physically. That's right, you own it.
But one of the what is it called? Whatever.
Booby Mahjong 4?
It was it's one of the like strip mahjongs. They're not really stripping, but there's suggestive images. You can spank the girl after you beat them in mahjong.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think you told me that part of it.
Yeah, there was that one.
That's more objectionable to me than it would be for nudity.
There's
you can abuse the women potentially.
It's a weird game.
But they like it.
And then they had been putting on I don't know exactly what they were, but they were all in Japanese still, but you could get them in the US, and each one, like, there was like 2 or 3 of them. They showed like a picture of a pretty woman, real, not like a cartoon, and then it showed like a bunch of dialogue choices. So I don't know if it was like a mini dating simulator or what. They also released Senran Kagura Reflections, which is a motion control massage simulator, essentially. So yeah, it was looking interesting because Nintendo's releasing all of this stuff when Sony started to crack down.
Yes. Okay.
Sony started to crack down on certain things. There was going to be censorship, some things mildly censored between the Switch version and the PS4 version of, I think it was Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball.
Okay.
And the 7th Senran Kagura game was actually, it's in limbo, but it was partially canceled because Sony was going to censor some things. I think like the dressing room mode, which is basically like you rotate 3D models and dress them up in clothes.
So this was a Q&A session at Nintendo's 79th annual general meeting of shareholders. And one question, let's see, someone asked, this is from an article from Spiel Times. One person asked about Sony's recent controversial censorship policies and queried Nintendo's position on the issues. Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa dismissed the concern by saying that Nintendo and other third parties apply for objective ratings from organizations like the CERO, CERO. I'm guessing that's a
CERO is their rating system.
That's the one overseas. Okay. Furukawa also pointed out that the Switch's parental controls can already protect children from mature titles. However, it wasn't the entirety of the president's response, and what was interpreted as a thinly veiled critique of Sony. Furukawa stated that platform holding companies would inhibit the industry if they arbitrarily chose what content should not be allowed in the market. He suggested that Nintendo's goal is to protect expression in video games and censor as little as possible. Wow, what a turnaround in 20 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What a turnaround.
And if you keep going down, I didn't even see this. I just read the top part. The current censorship fiasco. They actually talk
With
about
Sony?
Dead or Alive Extreme 3, Scarlet. They censored Omega release. Basically, they're covering up the boobs. Senran Kagura was mentioned in there too.
So Nintendo's basically saying that, why we don't have to do it because, there's ratings companies that they rate the games and there's parental controls. So that to us, that's good enough.
Right. They're doing it's parents' responsibility and the rating system's responsibility to handle this. And I agree. I've always thought it was very weird that after, how long have video game consoles been a thing? Really? 77, 87, 97, 50 years?
50 years in 2022, if you want to get technical.
Yeah, so we're getting close to 50
but
years.
Censorship, you want to say, started with like Custer's Last Stand, with like Atari, something like that.
50. We're close to 50 years.
Yeah.
And it's still, even though they are expensive enough that adults are buying them, just for themselves. It's not just a kids thing anymore. It's always blown my mind that they still censor like sexual content on consoles. It's very weird to me.
Well, violent as well. Back to Nintendo.
Well, back in the day, yes. But I'm just saying, specifically now, it's more like sexual content. I mean, you look at E3, stuff like that, and, you got people being disemboweled with katanas.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine for kids to see, but we can't show a nipple.
Right, exactly.
That's just our back-ass fucking puritanical ways coming to the forefront.
So it's ridiculous, and I think it's crazy how it's flip-flopped, but, good for Nintendo.
Yeah, I just saw something on Twitter. It was like, oh, watch Doom where you pop a guy's head off with a shotgun under the chin or something. Like, oh, that's great. My 12-year-old can see that, and that's fine. Just, desensitize him to violence. That's
You have
okay.
a 12-year-old?
In theory. I might. Who knows?
Is his name Adonis?
What? Adonis? What is that supposed to be? Like Adonis Creed? Or is that another reference to something?
That's a reference to, I believe, Drake's child that he hid from the public forever, or for a while. His name is Adonis, I believe.
Oh, is that the one that probably
Yeah.
Draymond made fun of him for in the finals? That was
believe so.
mostly what it is. Come on, Drake. Don't shame the kid. Be a dad publicly.
Yes, Adonis is his son's name. Anyways, that was just a little joke.
Okay, I thought you were referencing something else there. I'm like,
No.
Adonis. I watched Creed 2 the other day, except for the last half hour, and I got to rent it online. Anyway, I love Dolph Lundgren. Anyway, Ian. So,
Anyway, Pat.
this is good news, obviously, because, you don't get in the way of these companies doing their thing and rate the games properly. If they're not doing something illegal or something that heinous, like a nipple, be fine with it.
Real heinous.
Is there actual now nudity on the Switch? If I went and looked,
No.
could I find nudity? There's still no nudity.
No,
Okay.
I mean, and what Sony was censoring wasn't even
Nudity.
nudity.
It was just boobies. So
it
dead or
was-
alive bouncing boobies or whatever.
Yeah, they were censoring some of the content, making it
Man,
less
let's
over
not,
sexual.
let's not get those DOA people against us again. Woof.
Whatever.
Woof. Get some anime avatars after us again.
Ooh.
All right. So, okay, that's positive news. And again, Sony gets thrown under the bus every week from the Microsoft and Nintendo, which I just think is funny. At
Yeah,
this point.
they're getting beat up.
I just don't understand what they're doing.